Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our favourite race of the weekend. If you can't sense any sarcasm, then that's on you. Monaco. We don't like the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. I absolutely suck balls at this circuit with a fully wet first practice session. Thankfully, the rest of the weekend is dry from there on out, so I'll be kind of competitive, but also very much not. So we'll see what we can do here in Monaco. If we score any sort of points at all, we're thrilled. Of course, we're on the back of a remarkable Imola Grand Prix. One of the best races of my entire career in this save. If not the best race of my entire career in this save at Imola last time out. So do check that episode if you missed it. We're in a run of back-to-back podiums and fastest laps. And I kind of need to get a win and a fastest lap at every race for the remainder of the season to stand a chance of catching Charles Leclerc for a driver's title. You probably guess how likely that is at this stage, but we're getting ever closer to Charles with our recognition, meaning we're not far away at all from unlocking a few more things to unlock on the car. So we have 3,500 resource points saved up, so we can really go to town when it offers us the opportunity to, 4 sessions without damaging your car. It's not really going to happen at this circuit. We can really go to town when we get the opportunity to really upgrade the car. But I need to get to I need to get to 50% recognition first. We're at 48, I believe, right now. So we're ever closer. And I think once my driver rating goes from 84 to 85, that might just tip us over the edge. Regardless, there's going to be quite a bit of hitting the edge at this circuit. We love a flashback, we love a barrier knock here at Monaco, but in the dry, hopefully less than usual. Do drop the video a like if you're enjoying the save, though. Very much appreciate it. Keep your subscriptions coming in and maintained as we continue on for this third season here in the second season at Ferrari, third season of the driver career. And of course, make sure you hit that notification bell and you won't miss out on any episodes of this save, or of course the FC25 player career mode, which continues to come to you every weekday. I might even just skip practice 1 altogether and go straight to practice 2. Because balls to driving Monaco in the rain if I don't have to. Resource points acquired. Monaco's Monaco. We'll be lucky if we get out of Q1 here. The setup we've tweaked slightly. It feels better than it did when I started the weekend. But I'm still 10-pin bowling with the barriers up, shall we say, as a phrase. I do need to put some fresher parts in the car, which will, of course, come in handy. Although, to be fair, it's all about track position at Monaco anyway, not necessarily about maximising lap time. So, if ever there was a circuit where I could use some slightly more worn components, I guess this is the one, isn't it? Where you don't necessarily drive flat out in the race. It's about getting track position, keeping track position, and not necessarily driving the car at 100% the entire time. Qualifying is driving the car at 100% the entire time, and I will, but my 100% is significantly lower than some of the others' 100%, unfortunately. Well, my first lap in qualifying is a 109.1, which I don't think was fast enough to get me out of Q1. No, it wasn't. P16. Through the first two sectors, I was 4 tenths up on Daniel Ricciardo, in P16 who actually improved to P14. Oh, by 1 millisecond. Literally could not have been closer. Pierre Gasly, 1 minute 9,165. Me, 1 minute 9,166. Good. That's as fine as the margins come. And that shows you exactly where I am on 105 difficulty at Monaco. P16, we will start the Monaco Grand Prix. They're in a 108.4s in the top of the timetables, but I bet in Q3 they might even be in the 107s. A 109.1 is good enough for P16 only. And back down to earth from Imola. How far into the 107s were they? Only Charles, 107.936. Nearly a full 4 tenths faster than Fernando Alonso in second. So they only went about a tenth faster between Q1 and Q3. My 109.1 was good enough for P16 only. And to be honest, it's so tight. Even Ricciardo in 14th still, after Q2 was only in the 108.9s. So the margins are so tight here in Monaco. No penalties, unfortunately, so no free positions for us anywhere.
You know this, but this track needs a lot of downforce, and as such, we're not going to have quite the same top speed as other circuits. The good news, though, is that it's going to make our DRS even more powerful. So try to make the most of it in the race and quali if you can.
The race and quali, I mean, it's race day, Mark, and DRS is worth bugger all, really, around this circuit. It reckons I need 10 plus laps worth of extra fuel, which is not superb. I don't need to be saving fuel around Monaco, but if I undercut by a little bit, then maybe we might be able to do something in this Grand Prix. I'll take a little bit of fuel out, but I'm apprehensive to take too much out because, quite frankly, I'll probably need to save at some point. Starting P16, everyone else, or some hard runners, some medium runners. I think it's probably the better idea to pit sooner rather than later and then just be a rolling roadblock later in the Grand Prix. So we will try and get past some hard runners on our medium tyres. But I hesitate to say how many positions we'll make. Obviously, with it being Monaco, it's particularly difficult to overtake. My teammate, and most of those in the top 6, are on the medium tyres. Max on the hard will be the outlier there. Both Mercedes also on the hard tyre. And the McLaren's not having a great time at all, 10th and 12th. But Charles P1, and I think it's safe to say Charles will probably still be P1 by the end of the race. I shall do what I can, but no promises. It's Monaco after all. Some hard runners around us, mainly mediums. Apologies in advance to the editor, Chris, for the calamity that's about to begin for the next 78 laps. This is always a difficult one for me to edit, let alone Chris when he doesn't actually have any idea of what's about to come. Apart from his experience editing Season 1 and Season 2's Monaco. We're underway. It's not a bad start. It's not a great start either. Trying not to get squeezed into the wall by the Sauber on my inside. We'll hold the position, will we, up the hill? 13% wear on the front left tyre already. Good. That's gone well then. Had a bit of a scrape down the wall there, but that won't go up until the rest of the tyres get there now. Not a great way to start. Not a terrible way to start. Excuse me, Mr. Zhou Guanyu. I'd like P16 back, please. He'd rather not give it to me. Brake for the hairpin chairs. Oh, my lord. Yellow flags because everyone's going so slow. I've got no choice but to let Zhou Guanyu go there. Otherwise, we'd have had an accident. I went back down to P17. Right. Oh, here we go then. Game on. Settled. Back into a rhythm. And hopefully we'll be able to make some positions on those hard runners in the not too distant future. We did make some positions in Monaco last year in the Ferrari. I can't quite recall where we qualified and where we finished. But we'll do what we can to make as many positions as possible. Any World Championship points scored today is a bonus. It's like this in Monaco every year, in every season, on every F1 game. I just can't do this track at the difficulty that we race at every other circuit.
Okay,
but
DRS will be
I'm not going to
this
wimp
lap.
out
Use
and
it
change the
within 1
difficulty.
second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
We go. And what we always do everywhere else, apart from those where the AI are silly overpowered, like Brazil. We actually took Brazil off the past calendar last season, didn't we? I think Brazil might not be on the calendar again this year too, regardless. Let's get ourselves through as many laps of this Grand Prix as we can without any damage, without any flashbacks. And then hopefully, when we come to Undercut, we'll be able to make some positions.
Battery charge is high. Let's use
some
that
clean
overtake
air.
button a bit more.
Not really had the opportunity to utilise the battery thus far. Gasly is on the hard tyre, so he might be vulnerable to Zhou Guanyu at some point, but the Sauber isn't a great car, so I don't envisage he'll be crawling all over the back of the Alpine. Elongating out a little bit now as we get spread out with the hard tyres runners and the medium runners all battling with one another. Trying to stick with those in front. Easier said than done at times, especially with the highly worn front left tyre after the scrape of the wall on lap 1, but really have anywhere else to go with Zhou Guanyu so tight to me on the right hand side. Millimetres worth of difference between scraping your tyre up the wall and judging it to perfection. If I ever get the gap to the wall to perfection around here, it is by luck, not by precision. The thing is, because because Pierre Gasly's right there in front of Zhou Guanyu, if I ever get a run on Zhou, I can't really send it up the inside because I'll just end up running into Pierre. Like here, I'd love to just throw it up the inside like that. Not like that, but you know what I mean. But I'd probably run straight into the back of Pierre Gasly. So even if you do get the potential at times of an overtaking opportunity, sometimes you still can't take it because there's not enough room to get into beyond the car that you're trying to overtake. Pierre Gasly is holding both myself and Zhou Guanyu up here with those hard tyres on the Alpine. It probably is going to be a case of hoping that any undercut we get is what is going to give us the potential to make a few positions once we get through the pit stop phase. But we are losing time to Ollie Behrman and one of the RBs down the road. Daniel Ricciardo, presumably, after he qualified 14th. And then it's the two McLarens a little bit further down the road from there, but that would be a big ask to undercut that much. Even with a full lap undercut on brand new, fresh, hard tyres. Just can't quite seem to get close enough to Zhou Guanyu to think about a move. And even, like I say, if I do get close enough to think about the move, I'd have to think twice because Pierre Gasly would probably be on the exact piece of tarmac I'd want to position my car on to try and get past Zhou Guanyu. I'd have just been able to keep the spot ahead of the Sauber at the beginning of the race when we tried to make the move up the inside before the chicane. Then we could probably have seen off Pierre Gasly. We'd be in this exact same position behind Ollie Behrman and the RB, but at least we'd be two positions further down the road. Oh, back end complaining on the way out of Anthony Noakes there. About 9% on the rears after 7 laps, and we're not thinking of pitting until lap 30. So the tyres are going to be very, very, very sad. So the rear tyres have now basically caught up with that front left that we scraped early doors. Still just trying to force a mistake out of Zhou Guanyu, but he seems rather unwilling to make one, and Pierre Gasly is very much the same at the moment. The front few have broken very much away. There's a big gap from Lance Stroll back to Max Verstappen, and then one of the Mercedes is kind of lost in the middle as well. And then comes everyone else, effectively. Really difficult first stint to this Grand Prix. Just going to have to hope that the undercut can work wonders for us and that we can put some decent pace together on the hard tyre. I do feel like I get worse at Monaco every single year. Each different iteration of the game, I feel like I'm worse and worse at Monaco every time we get a new game come out. I don't know what the reason for it is. Tucked right up behind Zhou Guanyu here. Oh, fuck you! Stupid throttle pedal. I thought maybe this is my moment, and then as we go over the bump, back end just steps on me and I lose all momentum, end up going sideways down the road. And Zhou Guanyu lives to fight another day. It took 13 and a half laps to think about being able to put another move on the sailboat. And then when that opportunity came along, I got too impatient, put my foot down too hard, lost all traction, and still didn't make the place. And now I've completely dropped out of DRS. I've fallen into... Okay. Rear tyres are not happy. I have to try and calm it down a bit because temperatures must be spiking a little, which is causing more rear spinning of the tyres. And it's brought Nico Hulkenberg back into DRS. Wonderful, right. Back to the grindstone. Let's close that gap back up. 17 and 18% worn at the rear, and we're halfway through this stint. And yeah, rear tyre temps are significantly higher than those at the front. Right, we've got ourselves back within DRS range of Zhou Guanyu. He's nearly out of DRS range.
Just so you know, we're getting
Pierre Gasly. Oh, there you go. Every race, without fail, every race, this Ferrari. I swear to God, it's just as well we turned off the mechanical faults, isn't it? Otherwise we'd have so many failures throughout the course of a season. Zhou Guanyu might be starting to get a little bit vulnerable. The fact that Gasly's starting to pull away says that it's perhaps the part of the race, the part of the stint where the hard tyre is becoming the better one to be on, and the mediums are just hanging on for dear life for now until we box. They're not going to box until about lap 34, the other medium runners. I'm going to box on lap 30 and then try and make the hard tyres last as long as I physically can. 2 laps away, we're on lap 28. You can see that Pierre Gasly has gotten away down the road now as hard is definitely the better tyre to be on. Nico Hulkenberg and the other Alpine, also on hard tyres, has closed up right behind me and has been sat there for a few laps now. I'm really struggling with the rears and have been for quite some time now.
Gaining on the car ahead.
We did drop nearly 2 seconds behind Zhou Guanyu at one point. We've been able to claw it back, but still finding it impossibly difficult to try and get around the Sauber. I don't know whether Sauber have made some upgrades to their car, because Valtteri Bottas is actually having quite a good race at the moment. He might even be in the points, Valtteri Bottas, in the other Sauber.
Okay,
that far up there.
We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip anytime
Yeah,
now.
you're telling me. That far up the road, Valtteri, I think he might be in the points, which is definitely a rarity for Sauber in real life. I don't know if they've even got any points to this point, IRL, unless they... Oh, careful, just unless they do anything in the... IRL US Grand Prix, which is wheel spin all the way into 6th. US Grand Prix, which is set to happen tonight as I record this. You can see how much the rears are costing me now, 35 and 36% wear. And now all it took was that one mistake around Raskas. Now we're back 2 seconds behind Zhou Guanyu again. You can grind and grind and grind for lap after lap after lap, and then you make one mistake and all of your hard work for the last 20 minutes is entirely undone. In about 1.4 seconds. Such is the nature of Monaco, such is the nature of Formula One, really. It's just every mistake you make is exasperated and exaggerated. It's kind of hard to exceed the pit lane speed limit here at Monaco because you're turning in so soon into a traction zone that you just turn into the pits without really accelerating anywhere. Not a great turn in. So we'll get a 2.9 second stop.
Okay,
we get a 2.8 second stop.
From you and the crew,
now then,
we're satisfied with that.
I'm nearly getting lapped. You can see that coming around the Raskas now is my teammate and Fernando Alonso. We're very nearly a lap down already here in Monaco with this early pit stop.
Finish the race on this compound.
They will obviously box at some point in the not too distant future, but they're coming around the corner at the bottom of the hill. That is the leaders right there. So now we have to try and make use of these fresh tyres and some hopefully very good grip, significantly better grip than I had previously anyway, and see what we can do in terms of making ground on anyone that was in front of us in this race. I've got 4 laps on those on the mediums, and then who knows when the hard runners will stop. Probably about lap 45 maybe, and then we'll find out exactly whether we've been able to make one position, more than one position, no positions, who knows. Pedal to the metal as ever, and now hopefully we can really make a difference in this Monaco Grand Prix. Already gained loads of time on Alex Albon, about a second on Zhou Guanyu as well.
Gap to the car ahead, 12.7 seconds.
19.4 as we come around the first corner on Zhou Guanyu. We'll bear that in mind when we get to exactly the same point next lap. Of course, everyone that started on the hard tyre, we're on the same compound as them now, but in theory we should be closing on them as well.
Okay,
doing the undercut on those on the mediums. We're also doing an even bigger undercut on those that are on the hards. That obviously will be boxing onto a faster tyre later in the race. But ultimately, will they be able to utilise the pace of that faster tyre if they're stuck behind those of us that pit earlier on and have just been pumping in faster lap times since we boxed? I don't think so.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
I put them on last lap mark, that's probably why there's no tyre concerns, isn't it, mate? See, the gap to Zhou Guanyu has come down by a second already, 19.4 as it was, into Sandevot at the beginning of this lap. Now we're going to be close to 1.5 seconds faster.
Yes, we hit the target, nice work.
Per lap at the minute. Of course, it's Esteban Ocon that's in the other Sauber. Not Valtteri Bottas. Ocon has come out of the pits. Oh, Ferrari's pit behind me. Charles Leclerc is in. Alonso's in with him as well. They're boxing on the same lap as each other. That's huge for the battle for the win here in Monaco today. Esteban Ocon was a long way down the road when we boxed. Certainly more than 9.2 seconds, that's for sure. So we've definitely earned some time on him. He was in front of a handful of much quicker drivers, really, in much quicker cars, but they were struggling. And Esteban Ocon is having a fantastic weekend here for Sauber so far. He's going to continue to extend over us for sure. But I don't know, we might be able to get past that some with the undercut. We were 17th before the first round, or only round of pit stops. We'll see where we are after everyone has done their stop. Zhou Guanyu is in the pits, as you can see there now, top left. Handful of others as well. This is where we hope that our undercut has worked, which it has, as we are now comfortably past Zhou Guanyu. And what, 3.5 seconds behind Yuki Tsunoda, who is the next car down the road after Pierre Gasly. So in theory we should undercut Gasly here as well, and if there were many other hard runners then we should undercut some of those too in the next 10 laps or so, hopefully anyway. We're 7 seconds ahead of Zhou Guanyu. We were about 1.5 seconds behind him when we boxed, so we've gained about 8.5 seconds with the undercut. It's pretty massive, really. Ricciardo in the pits, Ricciardo out the pits.
Okay,
I think Ricciardo was behind us anyway.
0.8 seconds.
No, we're P16 now. So we've undercut Ricciardo, who's come out in front of Zhou Guanyu. Nice. I think we've undercut Ricciardo anyway. Did we? Yeah, I'm sure Ricciardo was in front of me. So we've undercut Zhou Guanyu, we've undercut Ricciardo. We should be able to undercut Pierre Gasly. Nick Hulkenberg was right behind us anyway, so we'll definitely get ahead of him. We might be able to get ahead of Behrman, Norris and Piastri, maybe, if the laps continue to pump themselves in time-wise. I don't know when the hard runners are going to box. There might yet be a sneaky chance of a point here, you know. So the car in front is coming down. I've been in the zone a little bit for a lap or two. Nice to have some grip back again. Pounding in the lap times. Esteban Ocon is actually stuck behind one of the Alpines that is on their original hard tyre, that being Nico Hulkenberg. So Nico was right behind us when we boxed. It's not that long a pit stop loss here, but we're now nearly right with Nico Hulkenberg again. We've nearly just nullified that pit stop loss already because he's gone longer on the opening stint, which it just isn't the way forward here. The undercut is always going to be the most powerful thing around Monaco when it comes to the pit stops, because it will give you the track position, which is the most important thing around this circuit. Let's keep those lap times coming in. Keep the gaps coming down in front. And keep praying for a point. Right, we are now, as we approach the back of this train, we're now at the point where our undercut is being nullified. Because we're all stuck by Nico Hulkenberg here. We are now doing Nico Hulkenberg level lap times. So any time we were gaining on those other hard one-stoppers is now gone. And we'll start to lose time on those that are on the hard tyre still, but they're in an overall faster car. We're effectively now losing time on those we've previously been chunking time out of. We need Nico Hulkenberg to box early and then to get after Pierre Gasly, but I don't think Nico's going to give us that luxury, unfortunately. Was sweet. That was really, really, really sweet. We're past Yuki Tsunoda. That's the best move we've made all weekend. I mean, we've only made about 3, but it's still the best move we've made all weekend. I enjoyed that one a lot. Now, can we do anything about Ocon and Hulkenberg here? I hope so, but having made at least one more overtake, we're happy with that. It was so fine margins between me, Wall, back of Ocon, Tsunoda. I put a lot of faith in the other drivers there and in my relatively fresh hard tyres that they would actually stop the car. I could try something similar on Ocon myself this lap. It's because Hulkenberg is braking so early because of his super worn tyres. No, there's that snap. I'm going over the bump again. I'm getting too antsy, too aggressive with the throttle pedal. We're just going to have to sit tight for now. That happen it has. Deal with it we shall. Oh, I'm trying the same on Ocon. The on-body's taking a bit more damage now. Forceful. Borderline as to whether it was fair or not. Esteban is fighting this hard. I shall fight it harder. Give up the position, pal. Thank you. Sometimes you just got to get your elbows out around Monaco. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It worked then. Now we need to get past Nico Hulkenberg and try and reel in some of the others in front again, if that's even at all possible now, with some slight underbody damage. I hope it is. One of the McLarens is actually in now. And coming out again, but coming out behind us. We've undercut the McLaren. Massive. If everything else goes according to plan, there is a point or more available for us this afternoon from a P17 early doors. I was too far behind Nico to even contemplate having a go at him then that time. Gasly's in the box. We should overtake Gasly now. Hulkenberg is still out for another lap because his teammate is in the box right now. The McLaren and Ollie Behrman are coming out of the pits right in front of us now. Can we get there? Yes, we can. We are in the points. Nico Hulkenberg in front in P9, which we will inherit when he boxes. We are currently on for 2 World Championship points, provided between now and the end of the race, I can keep everyone that's behind me. And it shows just how important those overtakes on Ocon and Tsunoda were. Because if we didn't put those overtakes in, we'd be P11 when Hulkenberg pits and out of the points. And probably not have the pace to keep up with Tsunoda or Ocon. But we're in front of them now. And hopefully track position will be king. And we'll stay in front of them for the rest of the race and get 2 World Championship points. That is my aim now between now, lap 46, and the end, lap 78. Probably by the time we get there, lap 77. I anticipate us probably getting lapped between now and the end of the Grand Prix, although those two at the front in Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso are quite a way back. It will be very tough at the end of the race though, with significantly worn tyres. Thank you, Nico, for getting out of the way. Now it's all or nothing from here.
30.1 seconds.
Here you go, half a minute to the Mercedes already. We're running on lap 54 of 78. Those medium tyres and those cars and those drivers quicker than me around here. I'm certainly holding... What? I'm not really holding up much of a train, am I? The gap is 1.5 to Ocon, so he certainly could be going quicker. There is enough gap between me and he that he could be going quicker if he put his mind to it, because the gap is only about 6/10 between him and the cars behind, and then the car behind that, and then the car behind that, and then the car behind that, and the car behind that, etc. So I'm not necessarily the cork in the bottle here. I'm not fast enough to just disappear down the road, but I'm also not slow enough that I'm holding them all up. So I don't feel that bad at the moment. The car feels horrific with the damage that we've accrued and the tyre wear we've accrued, but I don't feel like I'm that uncompetitive compared to the cars that are immediately behind me at this moment in time in this Grand Prix. We're on lap 60 of 78. We're still maintaining and ever so slightly growing a decent gap to the gaggle behind, who are now at the very back of them, having to let Charles Leclerc through, and then subsequently, in not too much time, Fernando Alonso as well, as the leaders are getting round to us. So it looks more than likely that we will only be doing 77 laps here in Monaco rather than 78. But you might imagine, and you'd be right in imagining, that we really don't mind that. Any less time needed to be run around this circuit, I am not too bothered about whatsoever. That's some more floor damage we've taken there, going over the curb. But it's not going to affect us in terms of our pace or position too much so for the rest of this race. Just a case of seeing this through now and bringing home 2 World Championship points for myself and Ferrari, as Charles brings home 13 times that many. Just now, for the first time, getting the blue flags for Charles Leclerc. As we move on to lap 68 of ultimately what will be 77 for us. And we'll let him by. Just now. There we go. We've got another 6-second gap to those behind. Obviously that is going to take a little bit of a hit now. They're taking a second out of it also. Down to 4.8, but still the gaps in front grow exponentially, and the gaps behind also grow, regardless of the fact that we've had to let Charles Leclerc through. Still a 5-second gap back to Esteban Ocon now, so ultimately, even if I qualified here rather than P16, I don't think I'd have gotten a finishing position any higher than where I am now, because rather evidently those in front of me have a significant pace advantage, and rather evidently we have a pace advantage on those behind us. So even if we had performed significantly better earlier in the weekend, this is probably as much as we could have hoped for anyway. So we have to be ultimately happy, really, with a P9. Never really want to be happy with a P9. But ultimately, when this is the best you could possibly have achieved, and you achieve it, then it's a job done. Yellow flags. I think Ollie Behrman is retiring here.
Some information
He is
on
indeed.
Behrman for you. Okay, they're out of this race.
Where is he pulled over? Halfway through the second part of the chicane, the swimming pool chicane, I think. I mean, if this were real life, that is a safety car. Let's be honest. But for some reason, I don't think we're going to get even a VSC for that. Somehow. So we will go this entire Monaco Grand Prix with that being the most yellow flags we've seen all race. Other than the yellow flag on lap 1, because everyone was going so damn slow around the chicane, around their hairpin, sorry, that the game just registered it as yellow flag conditions. I had got soft tyres set as my next set, just in case there was a safety car and we felt like everyone might box for a set of softs. But track position, obviously, king as ever. We'd probably throw away any point scoring potential finish if we were to box for a safety car or VSC at this stage. Don't quite have a big enough gap behind to be able to pull that off. That's absolutely a safety car position. There surely has to be a safety car for that. The track's now green as the car has blinked out of existence. Well, we're on to lap 71 of 77, so 7 laps to go. Still very comfortable in P9. And this effectively showing the power of the undercut. It was by boxing early off those mediums and pumping in the lap times whilst we were on the hards, and also crucially putting in some really good overtakes on Yuki Tsunoda and Esteban Ocon that have earned us World Championship points today. We undercut the majority of those behind us with the pit stop, but the overtake on Ocon and Tsunoda ultimately are the two actions that have gotten us the points that we've gotten. The undercuts got us to the edge of the points in P11, but it was getting past the RB and the Sauber that has ultimately been what's given us the points that we're going to get. So it's not all just handed to you on a platter. You do have to earn it around any given circuit, and I do feel like we've earned this around Monaco today. It's not a great circuit for me. It's not even a decent circuit for me. It is a significantly subpar circuit for me. And we always feel like any points in any car is a good result. And we're going to get 2 of them. So, good result. Charles Leclerc is just starting his final lap of the race now. We are about to do the same ourselves. Fernando Alonso's made his way past all of those behind us as well. Like we've said before, this just shows you the power of the undercut and why it's so important to make the right strategical decision and take any opportunities that present themselves to you. We've managed to turn a P17 into a P9 with good strategy and a couple of key, precise overtakes at vital moments. And by doing so, we won't necessarily keep our title hopes alive, but it gives us confidence that we can still fight for the remainder of the season to try our best to challenge Charles Leclerc. It will take a couple of DNFs for Charles to bring us into contention, but with this Ferrari car, as we've seen ourselves, there is the potential for DNFs and for failures. Charles Leclerc is going to win the Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso will come home in second. We will come home in 9th. Charles wins his home Grand Prix. And wham! Across the line in P2. Please tell me that registered as the end of the race. Yep, pick up rubber and come home. There we go. In true fashion for us in Monaco, We've lost the wheel over the line, although that one might have been intentional. Driver of the day in Monaco. Way! I'll take it. Very much so, all the way to the bank. Congratulations, Charles, for the win in your home Grand Prix for the second time now, as he's done it in real life this year. Ferrari continue to power on in the constructors. I think McLaren were closest to us, were they? They might not have been, but are they? Were they? Oh no, Haas. McLaren are down in fifth now. We're 121 points clear in the constructors, and I'm now up to sixth in the drivers. I might have been sixth anyway. I think I was sixth anyway. I might actually have. No, I won't have fallen behind Lando, but I might have fallen behind Sergio Perez, actually. How many points did Perez get here? Oh, yes. He finished third. So we have fallen... We've actually gone backwards in the driver's standings, not forwards. But we went significantly forwards in the last round of the championship with our victory in Imola. So we'll be happy enough. 48, 49, 48 still. Like we say, when we get from 84 to 85 rated, I do feel like we will be able to level up that reputation. At least I certainly hope so. And we'll be at 85 rated before the halfway stage of this championship, I'm sure. Heading into round 9, which will be Spain next time around. Hoping for no rain at all. Rear wing upper flap has completed its improvement, which is great. Contract performance update. I'm very much on target at the moment. I'm under my target for the contract, but above the maintaining my seat level. And I don't know whether we'll get 87 rated by the end of the season, but certainly we should get to 86.
Our new parts have come through without any issue.
It is Canada next for us then, where last season we put in a P10. All right, well, Operation do better than we did last year. I think it was mixed conditions at Canada last year. So it wasn't necessarily the best of indicators of our overall pace. Hopefully it's not mixed conditions this time around. It is in quali, but not in the race. Qualifying starts damp, but will very quickly dry out. So, no, happy enough with a relatively pretty much fully dry Canadian Grand Prix weekend, which will do me no harm whatsoever. We'll probably have to tweak the setup slightly from last year because of the change in weather, but Canada could be a podium for us, potentially. Probably going to be a Santa Clara win, but I'm targeting P2 in the drivers by the end of the season, and if we can close in on Charles, then we've done a phenomenally good job. That's all for this one, though. Thank you very much for watching. Drop the video a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss out on more. Make sure you check all of the videos that went live on the channel earlier this week. Come and join me on stream. Links to everything in the description down below. And I'll see you next time.